was born June 11th, 1892. Of course, I was a little boy, and never gave me a bottle.
Aidische Mame, sie macht doch süß die ganze Welt.
My mother used to feed me, the old style. Until I grew and I feed myself. When I was at the age of 2, they gave me already for breakfast coffee and roll. And we used to sit outside the house on the steps in a sunny spring or summer day and enjoy my breakfast very much.
Did your stunt your grub?
No, and it was very, very good. And I liked to sit in the sun with a long shirt right to my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Of course, food was the main enjoyment I had.
And how about
then
now?
used to play and never had a bike in my life. I used to envy a neighbor with his father wasn't, he had a dad, he was a well-to-do man. He had a tricycle. I used to beg him for a ride. He would never give it to me. Obviously, before he So I figured I'll grow up, maybe I'll have a bike. So once my oldest brother bought a bike, beautiful bike, and still I didn't get a ride on it. I couldn't ride because the streets were not paved like here. They were just like mud and cobblestones, you see. So he didn't keep it long either, because he had no reason. A good man taught me how to write Jewish, and then I composed my own sentences, and I wrote Jewish and spoke Jewish. Then it came when he had to write in the paper an article about the tactics of the bank. So he wrote it in Jewish. He gave me to check it if it's properly spelled or properly spelled in Jewish.
Your first job as a
My
copywriter.
teacher came back to me for not censorship, but help. But he was a good brother. He was a very intelligent man. He had a tremendous library. I started to learn German and Malarussian. So these were my two extra, and Polish. There were 3 extra languages besides Jewish at the age of 9.
Wow. So you're multilingual?
Yeah, so then now I speak practically 6 languages. Of course, Jewish is my foremost that I speak best. Then comes English, German, French, Polish, and a little bit of Russian, you know. So it comes handy. Not only this, you see, I was brought up by myself. My father never took me any place, except there was once an exhibition, an Italian flyer gave an exhibition with an airplane.
Stunt plane?
Yes, stunt flying. So he took me then, I seen this. And automobiles, there weren't many in the city. There was one, a rich man, owner of acres of land. He was a customer of my father. So he used to come with his limousine of big car and think of I was proud we had such a rich customer. See? And he used to send us, for every winter, he used to send us a wagon full of potatoes, a box full of apples, you know, as a gift. As a gift. Apples, and we used to buy cabbages and make sauerkraut, and pickles we used to make, and we had horseradish in the cellar. There was no ice boxes, but we used to buy every week we used to buy a piece of ice from the man that used to make the soda. And because he had to give ice for the people that bought sodas.
Nice.
So
That came as
he
part of the
sold
deal.
us, yeah, we put in the cellar and we kept it over Saturday, and we had fresh fish each Saturday.
So you
What
never
happened-
really were hungry. You had some good food.
Johnny, get your gun.
I want to go
get
back
your gun,
a short history from the time when I was in France, escaping the military service in Austria, when in 1914 the First World War broke out, and I was on a countryside, and the news that I have to return to my land of birth was very sad to me. However, I took the last train to go to Paris in order to catch up to the train which goes to Austria. When I came to Paris, I've seen a lot of people beaten up, which were evidently enemy aliens, and I was scared to go on the street. However, I made my way to my cousin's home and trying to get advice, what can I do? My cousin told me, I'm sorry I can't advise you. If you had money, you would be safe and all that.
So prepare, say a prayer, send the word, we'll beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there.
There was already a crowd of Austrians and Germans and Poles, and we had no chairs to sit on, so we sat on the floor. After 2 days, they started distributing bread, so we had something to eat. Clothes I left in my place where I used to live. Somehow, through an outside contact from the building, they delivered a message to my janitor, and she brought me over some clothes. On the third day, we started out to the interior of France, and we placed in private homes as refugees. So we went there, and they put us in they had no rooms for us, but they had a cow stable, and they put us there on the floor, and we slept. After a couple of days, it was rather in the middle of the night, we hear noise from a gun, like a bomb. So we said to one another, I think the war is coming to us now. And sure enough, late in the night, was past midnight, and somebody knocked on the door. Snell, get ready, get dressed, we are going away. And so we did. We took our packages. It was already morning by then, and a wagon was waiting outside, and they put us on the wagon to go to a place where no one knew where. As we are midway on the highway, one fellow, prisoners or internees, came running after the wagon with a pair of shoes suspended on a stick, holding over his shoulder. And he said to the driver, hold, my bagage. This is all the bagage he had.
Just a pair of
In a
shoes.
shirt, the plain shirt that he wore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Finally, the wagon stopped and we picked them up too. And we went to a city where they registered us again and they put us on a train. That train came to the city of Orleans. It was already late in the night and the trains on the railroad station was hissing and people roaming around, you could hear them. And then we see another train comes just facing our train. French soldiers splattered with blood over their bodies, and we are afraid now we're going to get killed. But we told them right away we are refugees and we are ready to help France win the war. So evidently they let us alone, and since they let us alone, I felt a little peace and I fell asleep. When I woke up, I didn't know where I was. So I thought I lost my memory. But after an hour and a half, I recollected, and we went on with that train to a city named La Rochelle, which is on the Spanish frontier, and they embarked us there, and it was already cold, it was late and it was in Herbst already, and they put us in a church without windows. That church was demolished in a anti-church revolution in France when the church was separated from the state. So we went there, and it was so cold. We slept on sacks. It was so cold there we couldn't stay there. We went rather out and slept on the sidewalk around the church on straw. The straw was white from snow, but we went into sacks, so it kept us a little warm. So some of the prisoners started to smoke cigarettes, and there were soldiers at watch. They wouldn't let us smoke. They says, if you make a fire, you will have where to be. So stop smoking. So, of course, we stopped smoking. And
were you a smoker at the
we were
time?
there 8 days like this. No.
No.
But
That's
other
all. I see.
We were there 8 days in that church, and then they put us in a different city. In that city, that looked more a permanent thing. And we were there sleeping. There was once a caserne, which means a place where the matlos means sailors, their home, but they were taken into service, and this was empty, and they were used for the Austrian German prisoners.
Is that where you stayed most of the war?
Yes,
In that
that
place?
was from that place, but in this place we were slept on straw and unsanitary conditions. Lice were prominent, but once in a month they took us to a public bath and they gave us a shower and fumigated, and so we left down there for about a year and a half. They gave us mostly, in the morning they gave us coffee for breakfast, but they gave us bread, two week to each prisoner, but they gave us 3 times a week they gave us meat, and the rest they gave us everyday soup.
So it was a little short of gourmet French cooking.
Yes, but whoever had money could go to the canteen and buy himself some extra piece of cheese or a little wine, you know. And then, of course, the money gave out. Most they some tailors to work on military coats. They brought up machines and material, cut coats, and we put them together, and they paid us 3 francs a coat. And so for a few weeks we had some work and we saved some money. So we could go to the canteen, not only eat ourselves something to our diet, but we could even treat a friend there too.
Ah, fine.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but one day I was standing in the window. It's a tall building, and from far away I've seen a soldier walking with a girl, taking her around. It was already the war was on about a year already.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so envying them. I said, gee, how beautiful it would be if I could take around a girl and for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the beautiful sunshine there was. Finally, we got a letter from the United States, a friend of ours, that they quit friends right the very day of the outbreak of the war.
Mm-hmm.
So they send us, we were 3 boys from one town, we were friends, and they send us 3 tickets to go to the United States. So one day in the winter night, the gendarme comes up and calls our names and said, get ready, you are going away to the United States.
Oh, that must have been nice to hear.
Oh, when the door opened for the first time, free without soldiers accompanying us, just one to get us to the railroad station, that was heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we took along some sardines, but we didn't need it. On the ship, they gave us to eat well, and it was a pleasure to eat on the ship. But there was at that time, a undersea war, submarines.
Mm-hmm.
We were afraid. Our ship was shaking, a stormy weather, and one of our 3 friends got scared, and he jumped off his bed, and he was running. So I said to him, where are you going? Go knock on the street? Finally he went back to bed. He would continue our voyage on the ship to the United States. Well, when we came to the United States, of course I was poor, and without money they wouldn't let me in.
Did you
My
see the
friend-
Statue of Liberty when
Yes,
you came there?
my friends had some money, so they let them out, and they went to our friends that sent them the tickets
Mm-hmm.
for the night to sleep over there. But and me they took to the highest place where they gave me a Friday night meal with fish and lobster soup and chicken, and it was very wonderful. And from then on, $5 a year for the Shoshone because they were so good to me.
Mm-hmm. And did you get a job?
And I didn't get a job yet. Of course, I slept by my end until I got too tired, and I went out to look for a home, for a room.
And how old were you at the time?
I was at the time 22 and a half years, 22 years, 23, something like this. Finally got a home, and I also got a job with a ladies' tailor, and I made a little living, and then it was, and I felt I'm too tired of this, so I moved out in a different apartment. But it was already quite after, not after the war, but my brother was, then that was after the war, when my brother was freed from the Austrian army. I sent for him and I took him over here, and we rented a room together, and
We had a family reunion.
family reunion. It was very nice. My life consisted of changing my homes, or rather my bedrooms, and I finally landed in a place where in this place were two girls, and I didn't feel so lonesome, so I used to date them. I date one girl, we used to take her out to the Columbia concerts, and so little by little we got more acquainted, and we started to feel closeness to each other.
Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me hear you whisper that you love me too.
But it once happened, we walked in the park, and I wanted to hold her hand, and she pulled it out. She thought it's a crime to hold hands with a boy.
Mm-hmm.
But I finally convinced her that it's not a crime, and we used to go out, and so after a time, with other friends, we kept company, and once she moved over to her sister in Brooklyn, and as we went home from her sister to Holland, we passed by a furniture store in Brooklyn, and we looked in the window. She asked me whether this is nice. So I knew she had in mind to marry and buy furniture. Finally, we looked for an apartment, and I agreed to it, and as long as we had furniture, so we was wasting it. We married, and we were a married couple.
And that was Ella.
That was Ella, my sweetheart. It's too bad she left me a little bit too early in life. But the remembrance is still with me, and many nights when I go to bed and I feel loneliness, tears come out of my eyes. But we can't, history is history, we can't help it. So, when she started to, what can I say, this is a bushicle, a little bushicle. The result was, it was a sheep. It was a bushicle. And I was just as happy. She was a beautiful little girl, and we raised her with pleasure, and our life was a real happy family life without insults, without fights. Of course, we had differences of opinion sometimes, but we managed to get along, and too bad she left.
Was that your only child?
Wait.
Oh, there's more.
So then I figured, well, we have one girl, and it's not good to leave a girl alone in the world. She has to have somebody in case of need or otherwise, just for family's sake. So we decided to have another child. And as we went in Rockaway, over there was the conception, and finally came out a nice little boy, and we are very happy that my plan will somehow work out. And so
that was how the Bush family got
going. That little boy
going.
was the Bushicle, the little Bushicle, and he was very nice, and we loved him. We loved him very much. But life isn't all roses, and it happened one time that he got very sick and scarlet fever, and we had fear we might lose him. So many days I was, when he was in the hospital, it was with my tears. And once it happened when he was very sick in the hospital, we called up to ask how he is. The nurse explained that he took some nourishment. At that moment, a spark of hope came into my heart, and I said, if he takes some food, I have a chance he might live. And thanks God, with all the pains and all that, and other operation on his ear, but he came out of it, and I was very happy. I used to take him to the park and take him in the hospital for setting, for resetting his and so thanks God he grew out of it, and he grew a fine boy, a scholarly boy, and
And it came out okay.
he came out okay.